Hey guys, in this video I wanted to show you something. For the past couple of years I've been looking for a new job, and by God's grace I got a new job, and it's really nice. It's been working out well for me. So today I thought it'd be cool to kind of show you what I've been doing the past couple of years, and just kind of show you some pictures and videos I took while I was working there. I didn't want to use any actual company names because sometimes companies are weird about that stuff, but anyway, let me show you what I've been doing. So for the last 3.5 years, I've been working in the power plant as an instrument technician. And, working in the power plant was never a lifelong dream of mine or anything like that. But when I was 16 years old, I knew who I wanted to marry, but I had to figure out what job I was going to get to be able to provide for a family. So my dad had been working in power plants for many years as a mechanical engineer. And while I was looking for potential jobs, he mentioned the technicians where he worked. So, in short, I earned an associate's degree in instrumentation, which was paid for by my dad. Thank you, Dad. And this job did provide a means for me to earn money for my family, but it was not my favorite at all. So, don't get me wrong, there are plenty of nice things about the job, and most days were pretty laid back, but I knew I could do better for myself. So, although my degree was in instrumentation, I mostly worked on control valves. And some valves were in pretty good condition when I had to work on them, while others would be pretty neglected, like you could see here, just going long periods of time without anybody working on them. And so, sometimes I'd go to a valve and I'd have to take it all apart and replace a couple pieces and things like that, and then put it all back together, and it would take a while and get it all back on there and lined up and everything, and then find out that I missed one piece or something was backwards or whatever, and I get to take it all back apart and then put in that last piece and put it all back together again. But yeah, there's a lot of that going on. So here's me walking around the plant a little bit, and even though I was only here 3 years, I still worked on just about every one of these valves. There's also this one valve that I got to do all the stainless steel tubing on for the air supply. And I was really proud of that job because when I first started, I was horrible at bending tubing. And this one, not only did I have to do all the bending, but I had to figure out what connected where. And at the end, it was all working perfectly. So I was really proud of that. But then at the same time, there's lots of jobs that I wasn't proud of. Sometimes in a power plant, they need a fix right now, and you can fix it right later. They just need something temporary. And then sometimes those temporary fixes end up lasting a long time. So here's a picture of a tubing job where I hooked it up backwards and I just kind of mangled it the right way, and it ended up just staying like that. Now, I did get to calibrate transmitters every now and then, and it was actually pretty easy and relaxing thing to do, but I realized I never took a video of me calibrating one, so here's a picture of some instruments. So our plant had 3 auxiliary boilers, 3 combustion turbines, and 2 steam turbines. We would make electricity and steam. And most of the crummy jobs were in the turbine enclosures. So here's a turbine enclosure, me just showing it around. We had to crawl all over this thing, up and down, and all the tight spaces everywhere. There's these 2 yellow valves here that, I could make a whole video of all the crummy days I had with those. We're constantly fixing those and taking them out. And anyway, if you could see, there's these blue covering all over everything in there, and all of that is fiberglass insulation. So that stuff would, get in your skin and itch for days, and it was hard to wash out, and you're constantly in that stuff the whole time you were in there. There's this one spot that was called the teardrop where you could actually crawl into the middle of the turbine, and it was really small and crammed in there, and of course it's full of fiberglass in there as well. And there's basically me and one other guy who knew how to do most of the jobs in there. But the other guy, he'd been there longer than me, and he was kind of bigger than me, so he would tell the bosses, oh, I'm too big to go in there, so I was usually in there. So anyway, here's just a bunch of videos of me, in the teardrop and in other crammed spaces, just crawling around in really uncomfortable positions and things like that, trying to get stuff in and out. There's certain things every time you worked on the turbine that you had to take out and then put back in for different jobs. So we were just constantly, not every day, but every couple of weeks we were doing this, crawling around. Now, outside of the turbine enclosures, there was a lot of stairs and ladders to ascend. The tallest things in the plant were somewhere around 120 and 150 feet tall, so not as bad as some chemical plants, but it was still a lot of work to do going up and down those. And also, what was kind of cool was when I was high up, I could see downtown Houston, and I could even see a big cross where that was near the house that we used to live in. So that was kind of cool to see, how far away my house was. Now, there were easy jobs too, like upkeeping the emissions monitoring system. A few times a week, you would just check everything, replace low bottles, and sometimes recalibrate the analyzers. And to do that, you would just push a few buttons and then sit there for about 15 minutes for each analyzer, waiting for it to go through its run and check everything. Most of the time, it was easy, but every now and then something would actually start to break down, and then you'd be stuck there, all night or all day or whatever. So here's a video of me driving the bottles around in a forklift. I wasn't sure if, I was going to use this clip because it's probably against the rules to drive a forklift while recording yourself, but I thought about it and I was like, you know what? I did it. I was safe about it. There's nothing you can really do about it except, watch it and enjoy it. So there you go. You're welcome. Now, I was paid by the hour, and that's kind of a two-edged sword. There's good things and bad things about it. The good thing being you get paid extra when you have to work extra. But then from day to day, sometimes you're done with all the work for the day and it's still not 5 o'clock, so you kind of have to wait around. So we had lots of downtime. We would try to find ways to pass the time. And yes, one day I actually did get bored and made a fidget spinner out of parts that I found around the area. One time there was actually a partial solar eclipse while we were at work, so we got to look at it through welding masks. And I know those don't protect your eyes 100%, but we used them anyway. We didn't look at it for too long, but it was really cool. But I would get easy callouts every now and then, and I believe this is one of the easiest callouts I ever got. These two wires here, they called me in just to screw those two wires in. I didn't have to pull the wire or anything. It was already there, but they wanted an instrument guy to do it, so I drove out and got paid for that and drove back home. So here are some more pictures that I didn't really have a script to. So I'll start to close this video up. I was very blessed to get hired at this job. They normally did not hire people straight out of school without experience, and I was the exception, so I was grateful for that. This job did pay me very well, and I was able to get married, buy a house, and live comfortably. Most of my coworkers were really good people, and they would take care of each other. Not everybody, but most people. And it was a blessing to be hired at this job, but it was also a blessing to be able to move on to something else eventually. And here's a picture of me, again, when I was younger than 10. My dad actually worked in this same plant for a few years, so that's how we have a picture of me there when I was little. And then here's a picture of me 12 or so years later, working at the same plant. So before I end this video and show you me returning my uniform and driving away for the last time, I just want to say I hope you enjoyed this video. It did take quite a while to put together. I'll also be posting a separate video where I threw a paper airplane off of one of the stacks in the plant, so you can check out my YouTube channel to see that. And that's about it. I'm currently at my new job, and it's going very well for me. And that's it.